Yamal Spain are up and running. Meanwhile, Cabo Verde have done the impossible again. The Egyptian Kings' magic ensures their first ever World Cup win. Bare cheeks save Belgium from a humiliating defeat. And this Ronaldo Joao Neves scandal is ridiculous. This is DMAC Daily. If match day 1 was incredibly underwhelming for Spain, well, today was the exact opposite, because La Roja have finally arrived. Lamine Yamal has also properly arrived in what was a comfortable 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia. Now, coming into this game, Spain had faced immense backlash following that lackluster performance v Cabo Verde. No disrespect to the World Cup debutants, they did themselves proud. They gained a viral superstar in the process, but everyone expected Spain to win this comfortably. The burden of expectation was very high for the reigning European champions coming into the World Cup. Many people, including myself, have them as favorites to win the whole thing. So dropping points against a tournament debutant and looking feckless in front of goal was not the ideal start. But it is worth remembering that the previous World Cup winners, Argentina, lost their tournament opener, and Spain also did the same thing back in 2010 before becoming world champions. So it wasn't exactly panic stations for Luis de la Fuente and his team. Today, Yamal would start this match. Several other changes were made. Almost started ahead of Ruiz, Pedro Porro replaced Llorente, and Baena came in for Gavi. And immediately, you could see a night and day difference in terms of intensity and willingness to attack. Yamal's presence was felt immediately, and it wouldn't take him long to get on the score sheet. Oyarzabal, who remarkably didn't touch the ball in the opening 30 minutes last game, was far more influential today, making a clever run in the channels before an inch-perfect delivery to the back post, with Yamal proceeding to channel his inner Brennan Johnson to tap it home. Not a typical Yamal goal, but interesting to see the young lad showing that poacher's instinct to make that run and finish. His first ever World Cup goal at 18 years, 343 days, 14 days less than Messi's first for Argentina in 06. Once Spain got that first goal, the confidence from 1 to 11 only grew. The second goal was uncharacteristic of Spain in that it was a bit of a scrappy one off of a corner. The ball inevitably fell to Oyarzabal, who took a quick touch and then buried it. He'd grab a second a couple minutes later. A great response from the Real Sociedad captain. A lot of reactionaries were quick to write him off after one poor game, which is standard procedure at a World Cup. Canada's all-time leading goal scorer had a poor game to start his tournament. The critics were quick to say he's terrible. Then he bagged a hat-trick. Guys, do not make the mistake of formulating an opinion off the back of one game. Context matters. In the case of Oyarzabal, yeah, he was poor against Cabo Verde. I'm not denying that, but he's otherwise been a revelation for Spain in attack. A significant upgrade to Morata, in fact, as this false 9 free-roaming forward. 21 goal contributions in his last 13 outings, including big performances against the Netherlands, France, and Portugal. So it's no surprise to see him delivering in a far more attack-minded side today. He and Yamal only played 45 minutes, but in that first half, Saudi Arabia were at 6s and 7s trying to negate those two. Especially with Yamal, having him on the pitch, it makes the opponents hyper-focus on his movements. A lot of the time, you'll see them assign 2 or even 3 players to stop him, which allows players like Oyarzabal, Olmo to drift into space and cause their own havoc. I was really impressed with Olmo's performance. He's such a clever player, someone whose qualities are tailor-made to thrive in this technical Spain team. I thought Pedro Porro was very good too. His technical ability in crossing is stronger than Llorente's, in my opinion. Baena was decent, but I think Spain will reach another gear if Williams can regain more fitness and eventually start in this side. He has that athleticism and direct nature that probably no other player in this squad has. Ultimately, the only thing that I see derailing Spain's World Cup campaign is fitness-related woes to either Yamal, Williams, Pedri, or Rodri. It might be a hot take here, but I actually think Rodri is the most critical component to this Spain side. He is the conductor. Alongside Pedri in midfield, they are the heart and soul of this team. Sure, they're playing a less than great Saudi Arabia side, but I can see these two bossing it against any opponent. This midfield is what Portugal think they are. And to anyone chirping about Rodri being washed or past it, do yourselves a favor and watch his individual performance from today. This guy's still absolutely world class. Now heading into match day 3, and they'll probably have to play a relatively strong team. Uruguay aren't great, but Spain haven't wrapped up top spot in Group H, so they can't afford to take their foot off the pedal. Speaking of Group H, and Cabo Verde have done it again. Off the back of the most unlikely of draws against Spain in matchday 1, they have now made further history, this time holding 2-time World Cup winners Uruguay to a 2-2 draw in Miami. This was wild. Obviously, they delivered the ultimate Harambo clinic v Spain, their goalkeeper, 40-year-old Vozinha, becoming a viral sensation as a result. But today was a different story. Vozinha actually made 0 saves in what was a far more ambitious performance, in the sense that they actually took it to their South American opponents. Granted, this isn't a particularly star-studded generation in Uruguay. I'd say it's their worst talent pool in 20 plus years, but this team was still 300 million euros more valuable than their African opponents, so they were fully expected to win this match. Keep in mind, Cabo Verde's 2 best players didn't even feature today too, but the tiny island nation came to play today. They hit the front in the first half thanks to a blistering free kick from Kevin Pina from 35 yards out. Not to take anything away from the lad, but I'm sorry, what was that wall doing? That's an actual war crime. Such a poor goal to concede. They would hit back relatively quick though, with 2 very similar goals, both crosses into the box, winning the first header before finishing off the move. Araujo scoring the first and assisting the second for Canobio. So 2-1 at halftime. It looked like Uruguay finally got their act together, and we're going to kick on from there. Yeah, wrong. Cabo Verde, they didn't sit back and accept defeat. Obviously, they don't have the individual quality of Uruguay, but they were disciplined and took full advantage of a major lapse in concentration from Mateus Oliveira, reckless in possession at the back. Muslera bursted off his line to try and clear it, but substitute Helio Varela, with his first touch of the ball, took it around the keeper and then slotted it into an empty net. Moments later, it was almost 3-2 to the underdogs. Montero came so close to scoring a screamer. Uruguay then had chances of their own late on, but they were unable to find a way through. 2-2 full time. So both teams remain undefeated at this year's tournament. However, this was obviously a terrible outcome for Uruguay. They now need a result against Spain to keep their World Cup dreams alive, which seems somewhat unlikely considering how poor they've been thus far. As for Cabo Verde, this is probably beyond their wildest dreams, having taken points now off of 2 traditional powerhouse nations. No one expected this, so they'll be going into this Saudi Arabia match with the self-belief that, yeah, we can get another result. We could definitely win this game. I mean, today it really impressed me because unlike the first game where they completely parked the bus, this time they actually really went for it. They came from behind too. There's so much adversity within this group, but we really shouldn't be all that surprised because remember, this team actually topped African qualifying. We ought to give the Blue Sharks the respect that they rightly deserve. Their World Cup story ain't over. It might just be getting started. We head to Group G next, and Belgium's World Cup campaign has hit another speed bump, with Rudy Garcia's side held to a frustrating 0-0 draw by Iran in Los Angeles. Now, there's been so much negativity surrounding the Belgian side because long gone are their days of their golden generation. In 2026, it's a team that is overly reliant on an aging core of players. The attack is severely lacking, and their defense is nowhere near the caliber of a top 10 ranked country. And now, 2 games into this tournament, those previous criticisms are all the more evident because today was another comprehensive disaster for the Red Devils. Sure, they dominated possession, they had 23 shots today, yet for all their territorial dominance, Belgium once again struggled to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, Iran arrived with a clear game plan: sit deep in a compact 5-4-1 shape. They came to primarily frustrate with the hopes of potentially grabbing a goal via a set piece. They almost had one early on, in fact, but Courtois came up with a huge save. Belgium were then very lucky to not have gone a goal down. A genius free kick play found Taremi in the box where he took an unreal first touch and found the bottom right corner. Unbelievably though, he was denied by his own bum cheeks. Yes, offside due to being caked up. That's a first for me. I can't recall seeing anything like that previously. Courtois then came up with another solid save in the second half before Belgium ramped up the pressure. Minutes later, we'd witnessed probably the save of the tournament. De Kuyper firing in what appeared to be an empty net, but somehow Iran's keeper Birenvand kept the ball out. Bro went beast mode all game, to be fair. Nothing was getting past him. Belgium's day would then get worse when they went down to 10 men, and Goy switching off in possession before giving away the foul as the last man. 0-0 it would finish. Another feckless day for Belgium from an attacking standpoint. 60 69 shots fired since a Belgian player got on the score sheet at a World Cup. A lot of attention before kickoff centered around Lukaku, who was handed his first competitive start in over a year after frequent injury problems all season, but he was off the pace today. It's such a familiar sight at this point, seeing this lad with his hands on his head at a major tournament. The absence of Doku through illness was also significant today. Belgium simply lacked pace and unpredictability out wide. Gotta give credit to Iran though. After fighting back twice to draw against New Zealand in their opener, they backed it up with another disciplined defensive performance against the highest ranked team in the group. Their World Cup campaign has been full of off-season chaos, yet they remain firmly in the hunt for a knockout place. Meanwhile, Egypt have secured a come-from-behind victory against New Zealand to go top of Group G. What a freaking game this was to watch. I gotta first shout out the All Whites from the jump. This team may not have the superstars minus Tim Payne, of course, but they arrived here as the lowest ranked nation in the entire tournament, yet they have been fearless in their approach in both games. Against Iran, they played some beautiful free-flowing football, and today it was more of the same. Egypt are by far the stronger team on paper, yet the Kiwis came out firing. They hit the front inside the opening 15 minutes, the GOAT himself, Payne, whipping in a corner to Sermon, who rose highest and gave the keeper no chance. There was 58 rankings separating the two sides today, but little old New Zealand were on top in that first half. However, the Pharaohs would grow into this game as it wore on, finding the equalizer through another bullet header, this time from Zico. Salah's influence grew throughout the game as well, and less than 10 minutes later, after equalizing, it would be their Egyptian king picking up the ball in space, playing a delightful 1-2 with Zico, and placing it past the keeper. What a beautiful goal this was. What a moment for Egyptian football. That was Messi-esque with the movement and finish from Salah. The floodgates had then well and truly opened. Salah assisting Trezeguet off of a corner to secure the 3 points. Their first ever victory in the World Cup. The first time that they've scored more than 2 goals in this tournament since 1934. But more importantly, this result ensures that they have qualified for the round of 32. So congratulations to any Egyptians who may be watching. I think there's a good chance you guys will now top this group. An enormous day for African football. Meanwhile, Portugal's World Cup campaign has barely begun, but Cristiano Ronaldo has already found himself at the center of another media storm, despite almost doing nothing to cause it this time. Now, the controversy itself stems from comments made by midfielder João Neves after Portugal's disappointing 1-1 draw against DR Congo. Asked about balancing Ronaldo's final World Cup with the collective nature of the squad, Neves offered what seemed to be a perfectly reasonable response. Quote, "We know what Cristiano Ronaldo has done for our national team and for the world of football. But at this moment, I feel that for him and for everyone, he's one of us. One more guy trying to help. He's no different to the rest of us, and he will contribute like we all will." Pretty standard stuff, right? Neves wasn't downplaying Ronaldo's legacy. If anything, he was emphasizing that Portugal can only succeed as a team. But in the age of social media, context is irrelevant. The quote was clipped, reposted, and stripped of all nuance, with some accounts labeling Neves had labeled Ronaldo a quote, ordinary player. That sparked an avalanche of abuse from sections of Ronaldo's online fanbase who flooded the midfielder's social media accounts, demanding he show more respect to the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. Unfortunately, it didn't stop there. Neves' partner, Madalena Aragao, also became a target. A fake quote was circulated online claiming she had told critics to tell your GOAT to retire. Now, the post was entirely fabricated, but it spread quickly enough that even Ronaldo's partner, Georgina Rodriguez, briefly shared it before realizing it was fake and deleting her response. This whole saga felt like a perfect snapshot of football in 2026, right? A routine post-match answer becomes a viral controversy. A fake social media post becomes accepted as fact. Players, their families, and even Ronaldo himself gets dragged into this toxic mess that is entirely manufactured. Probably the last thing Portugal needs right now off the back of that woeful tournament opener. But I also have this perspective that whilst any CR7 related slander isn't probably a good thing, it at least takes away from the other underperformers in the team, because Ronaldo alone didn't have a bad game v DR Congo, right? Most of the starting 11 and subs were similarly awful. The manager's selections were awful. So I think CR7 himself probably recognizes that he'll accept facing the brunt of all criticism as long as the rest are spared. He might just want to tell Georgina to chill out a bit. A bizarre situation. Anyways, guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.